So, guys, it's 9:05 in Central European time. So, thank you so much for being here. I want to guide you through some of my really cool ideas, secrets that I have. So, I've been running Agile Retrospectives for some years, and I would like to share this. Okay. So I'm guess a lot of you, this is probably not your first webinar. The first thing I want to mention is that if you have failed in facilitating Agile retrospective in the past, this is not your fault. There's a lot of information out there and it can be very confusing. Many times information overload keeps you from success, and that's okay. If you have been concerned in the past that you cannot run retrospectives, I want to put those fears to rest. You can do this. You just need the right person to explain it to you. I'm not saying that I'm the guru, but I believe I have some really cool experience and some nice ideas that I have been learning from during my years, and I want to share that. A lot of Agile coaches want you to think that you need to invest a lot of time and money to be successful, but to be honest, I'm here to tell you that they are not that correct. There are several ways to run Agile retrospectives. I want to share one with you that I believe it will be very successful. The difference with me is that I actually care about your success, and I truly want to see you to succeed as an Agile coach and Agile retrospectives facilitator. So some of you are already following my blog. You know that I try to create a lot of value to the community. I've been blogging now for 5 years, and every week I try to put something out to help you. So that's why we are here for. I know that some Scrum Masters have a dream to change the world and create an impact. At least I had it before and I still have it. That's why I started my own company. And I want to show you how to make that happen during this webinar. After all, I truly believe becoming good at Agile retrospectives is a pre-requirement to achieve that. So my goal for this web class is very, very simple. So for me, the only way, and this is my opinion, the only way for you to exponentially improve your team and organization is becoming a great Agile retrospective facilitator. And the only way to become an awesome Agile retrospective facilitator is to learn what I have to teach you today. And might be a little bit, how should I say, too broad, but I truly believe in what I'm saying, and that's why I'm here today with you. But before I start, I would like to introduce a bit about myself. Some of you, as you saw, some of you worked with me in the past, some of you know me personally, but a lot of you most probably don't know me. So I want to know and or I want to explain you who is Luis Gonçalves. Luis Gonçalves is an Agile coach with more than 10 years of Agile experience. I started my journey around 2006, 2007. Actually, there are persons in this webinar that work with me around that time, and that's how I had the pleasure to start with. I'm a founder of Facebook Scrum Master community with 5,200 members and growing every single day. And very relevant for this webinar so that you can actually trust a little bit more on what I have to say is I'm the co-author of Getting Value Out of Agile Retrospectives, a book that has the foreword of Esther Derby. This book at this moment has more than 25 copies distributed all over the world. So for me, it's a pretty good number. It's very interesting. And on my previous lifetime, so many years ago, no, not that so many years ago, some months ago, I was a co-founder of Oikosofi, and not anymore, but during the time that I was there, I created an Agile retrospectives program. And at that time, I achieved something extraordinary, at least from my point of view. I got around 4,300 users that signed up for an Agile retrospectives program that I had. I'm an active blogger and currently 25,000 unique monthly users or viewers on my blog. So I want to share a story with you. And before, I would like to know, do any of you have any clue how I actually ended up to have a name on Agile retrospectives, or why did I started to write, or how should I say it? How did I end up having a brand in Agile retrospectives? So I will be waiting a bit for you. So just put it on the chat. Do you have any clue how I actually started with Agile retrospectives? So I will share with you. Some of you say most probably no, and please bear. I do not. Yeah, Kim do not, and some other people. So I will share with you, and I don't want to make you feel sorry for me, but it's really a true story, and this is very important to the rest of the webinar. So it was back in 2011. I worked in a company in south of Germany where I was using Agile retrospectives with several teams. So at that time, I had 3 different teams, and I was actually applying Agile retrospectives quite often. So I learned a lot. And after 1 year being working in that company, the CTO of that organization decided to shut down the whole Agile implementation. So I lost my job, and I was in a very small village in the middle of nowhere, where basically people without German could not get any job. So I was pretty damn frustrated and really scared because I could not speak German. At the time, my wife was studying in Finland, so all our income was coming from me, and I needed to support her and my life. So I was pretty damn scared being fired without anything. But at the same time, I was writing a lot about the job retrospective. So I was not very knowledgeable at that time, but somehow I was sharing the stories with the world. And by coincidence or not, Ben Linders approached me at that time after me being sacked, and he said, "Hey, Louis, I've been reading a lot about your stories in your blog. How about if you write a book? I'm a editor in InfoQ, so we could actually get together. I write a lot about retrospectives, and we could get together and share our experience." And 4 years later, 5 years later, that's where I am today. But yes, I took the challenge, and basically we wrote a book. And as you can imagine, that book drastically impacted my life. Of course, as you can imagine, after a couple of months, I got a new job. I got a much better job than where I was. I moved back. I moved to Munich, where I'm still living today, and I got very interesting offers. But that's how I started the job retrospective. So this is very important because during this webinar, people might think that the job retrospectives are not that important. But I can assure you, a job retrospective can change the life of most of you. If you do the right stuff, if you know how to run proper stuff or proper job retrospectives, this is really, really a game changer. You can start with the team on the team level, then you can go to management, then you can to executive management. And this is a true story. You can really actually help executives to help them to understand how they work and how they can improve. So this was just a small story for you, but today I want to present you 3 big secrets for you. This is what we will learn today in this webinar. I want to present you a couple of secrets, and the first one, it's my secret formula that I use with all my teams and clients to create a job retrospectives that are fun. I will guide you through the secret number 2 to it's a proven way to create a culture of collaboration and participation. And the secret number 3 is simple but super effective way to resolve problems that appear in the team but are outside of team power to resolve them. I'm pretty sure that many of you that are here in this call, they get problems identified in the retrospectives, but they somehow cannot be solved outside in the team. So they need some support, but those problems get blocked. So I would like to get some reactions in the chat. How many of you actually identify problems on the Agile retrospective on the team level that they cannot proceed because there is some process lacking, some way lacking that you cannot solve? I would like to get some answers from you. At the same time, I would like to go back to the secret number 2 and ask how many of you have problems with the culture in the Agile retrospective, that people don't collaborate, people are shy, people don't really share because they are afraid of sharing their concerns. So I would like to get some reactions. Always, often, all the time. Yes. Oh my God, I love this. Oh my God, you make my life so nice. 2, not too often. Okay, Marco. Awesome. Good. Sometimes only problems outside of the teams, every time, introvert developers, always, oh my God. Seems that I'm seeing myself in the mirror some years ago. Thank you so much, guys. But yeah, this is what I'm going to help you today. So I'm going to give you a bunch of ideas that I believe it will help you. So my secret to run Agile retrospectives. One of the things that I always advise some people to do, and I really, really rarely identify these, is when you start an Agile retrospective, make sure that your team members and managers understand what is the benefit of an Agile retrospective. Most of us start Agile retrospective because it's part of the framework, it's part of Scrum. We just do it and we just assume that we should do it because it's part of Scrum. But you know, a lot of people tell me that change is very hard. People do not like to change. I don't believe on that. I really believe that people are okay to change. They are not okay to change if they don't understand how this is going, the change is going to be beneficial to them. And this is what happens with the Agile retrospectives. A lot of Scrum Masters, a lot of Agile coaches, a lot of us, we just came to the team and say, okay, we need to do Agile retrospectives. But people do not really realize what is the benefit of this. So how do I tackle this? Every time I run an Agile retrospective, or sorry, every time I join a team that I'm coaching, I always take a 2 to 3 hours time and I run a workshop where I actually organize them with them a time with the necessary audience, so the teams, managers, wherever, around this topic. And I will try to make an Agile retrospective workshop benefits and explain to them what are the benefits of an Agile retrospectives, and really explain to them. There are several Agile retrospectives benefits: customer collaboration, customer happiness, because basically if we do retrospectives, and if we really think about how we are delivering products and customer satisfaction and all that stuff, we can improve. Agile retrospectives is a team building exercise. Many times when I worked in Poland some years ago, we had our Fridays, retrospectives on Fridays, and we ended up always in the bar having our retrospectives in the bar. So it became a ritual where people saw the retrospective as a team building activity. There are many, many, many benefits. There are business benefits for it. So what I would suggest to you is maybe as a reset button, if some of you do not, or if some of you have a team that does not understand the benefit of retrospectives, maybe press the reset button, organize the 2 to 3 hours, contact me if you want. What kind of benefits? I have blog posts on my blog about this topic. Take a look into those and organize a retrospective that actually explains benefits to people and not just so much the process. When you have a retrospective, make sure that you have pre-requirements into place. So there are several requirements that you should have in place. For example, I see a lot of people doing a retrospective without a prime directive. And basically the prime directive, in a very short way, says that what happened in Vegas stays in Vegas. And basically he assumes that people always act with the best intentions. So never assume that people act with very nasty intentions. Always assume the best of people. Do not turn retrospectives in complaint sessions. So make sure that people have the space to speak up, have the space to let go some of their frustrations, but be very careful and learn how to manage those sessions to not become a complaint session, okay? Make sure, and this is a tricky one, but for example, that was one of the things that I did some years ago. For me, retrospectives is much more than a session. So you should have some special facilitation skills. If you have the money, if you have the budget, invest in a professional facilitation course. Go and take some courses, some facilitation courses, because you will see your retrospectives will improve dramatically. You will get so much more out of those retrospectives, because otherwise it will just become a what went well, what went wrong, and what should be changed. So there's a lot of things that you can get from professional facilitations. One thing that I always recommend is name the process. Okay, so make sure that people understand that you are doing an agile retrospective and build on the top of what I told you before. Make sure that people understand that what you are doing is a retrospective. Make sure that this is a cornerstone of respect and adapt. Make sure that everyone is aligned with what you are saying. Any questions at this moment, guys? I will stop 1 second so that I get some questions from you so that I can answer during this time. So as I told in the beginning, there is some delay, so most probably we'll hear some silence from my side. I'm just waiting for your questions to come in the chat. If you don't have any questions within the next 10 seconds, I will continue. Carlos, thank you. Oh, Carlos, that's a nice name. It's my brother's name. Thank you. So requirements are basically things that you need to have in place, like I explained to you. Some prime directive, do not turn retrospectives into complaint sessions. Make sure that you have nice training on facilitation. Some things that you should have in place. Another thing that I did not mention: bring food to the retrospectives. So, like I said, with my Polish teams, we went to the bar, so we had food, we had beer. So this is something that makes the team relax. It's very, very interesting. Okay, Justin, our problem is that we don't get enough productive thoughts around concrete action solutions. I don't know exactly what context, but just taking like a eagle eye view, maybe I think that you guys do not go into the root cause problem. So maybe the guys, you are really superficial on the topics and you should go into the root causes. So maybe something like this. Kim, you said retrospectives are cornerstone of something. I could not understand and adapt. Yeah, so it's the cornerstone of inspect and adapt. This is what I said. So if you guys have more questions, just shoot. I will continue the presentation. When you start with the job retrospectives, make sure that you are aware of anti-patterns. And there are several anti-patterns. In my blog, I've been writing a lot about it, but I can name some of you. One of the things is what happens in the retrospectives does not stay in the retrospective. So I joined a team a couple of years ago, or an organization where basically they were doing this. We were doing distributed retrospectives, so people spread all over the place, and our manager wanted us to record the retrospectives so that we could share the retrospectives with the rest of the organization. If you think about it, of course, she had all the best intentions to really spread knowledge all over the organization. But as you can imagine, if you are doing a retrospective, if you know that everything what you are saying is going to be recorded and it will end up on your Confluence page, I'm pretty sure you will not be that open to discuss problems in the retrospective. So make sure that you create a safe environment where everything that is discussed in the retrospective stay in the retrospective and does not go out of the retrospective. Another very common topic is people want to change the world. And this is very common. When you run an Agile retrospective, a lot of people do a lot of brainstormings, a lot of different topics. They come with 10, 15, 20 topics to change the world. Don't do that. Okay, so I'm a very strong believer that you should get 1, max 2 topics. Go very deep into those topics, do root cause analysis, try to understand what the heck is going on with those topics, find a solution for those topics and stick to those topics, okay? 1 topic, 2 topics max. Don't try to change the world. And because the reason is very, very simple. I really believe that we work in a very high complex environments, and a lot of times when you change something, it will impact the rest of the system where you are working. So if you actually try to solve 3, 4, 5 different problems, you do not understand which problem solved what, because basically you don't have a directly relation cause to problem solution, and with that you cannot learn anything. And I think if you solve one problem at a time, a lot of the other problems will disappear. So try always to tackle one single problem at a time. So I saw an answer, a question now. So even the action points are secret. No, Alan, I don't think the action points should be secret. The action points should be public to everyone. I don't think that is a problem at all. But when you are discussing during the retrospectives, a lot of times there are sensitive discussions, and those sensitive discussions should be private. Action points should not be private, and I will touch on that topic pretty soon, that you will see that actually I would love to see them public. Okay, so coming back, changing the world. I think I made my point clear. No responsibility is taken. So I see a lot of teams doing Agile retrospectives and no one actually takes responsibility of anything. Or even worse, a lot of times people believe that that the Scrum Master should be the one taking care of everything. This is not correct. Don't go there. Agile retrospectives, the Scrum Master, is there to help you to facilitate. But if you dump everything on the Scrum Master, you are not creating a self-empowered teams. You are creating a bunch of individuals that are dependent on the Scrum Master. So there are different topics that different people have better knowledge to solve than others. So make sure that the topic or the person that has the best knowledge to tackle that problem will solve the problem. Don't put everything on the Scrum Master, and make sure that you finish a retrospective with action points assigned to someone. Another thing that I see, which is very common, is no one reviews the previous action points, and this is something that in one or two slides I will give you some tips how to do it. But this is something that basically you should not do, right? You should start a retrospective reviewing the action points that you had from the previous sprints. Any questions here, guys? Just dump the questions here. I'm looking to the chat. I'm going back and forth. So if you have any questions, I will come back and support you guys. So most probably you guys know this picture. This is a very, very popular picture. It comes in the book Agile Retrospective from Diane and Esther. But even if it's very popular, it seems that there is a lot of people that actually are not aware of this. When you run a retrospective, make sure that you run a retrospective or a structured retrospective, at least with the 5 different phases of the retrospective. First one, set the stage. Basically, is the welcoming, is setting the stage, is breaking the ice. And I usually use, for example, kudu cards. So I always start a session, a retrospective, with kudu cards. It's very interesting. If you guys studied a little bit about relationship system coaching, you know that appreciation is one of the best ways to raise positivity, which is responsible for high productive teams, high positive teams. So start the retrospective as positive as you can. I usually start with the kudu cards. Gather the data. So basically, this is the session, the part of the session where you collect a lot of the issues, the challenges that you had during the sprint. Generate insights. So basically, you pick up the data the issues that you struggle with the most, and you generate insights. Why that happened? Why did it not happen? Then you decide what to do. Again, here I always try to focus in one topic, 2 topics. Never pick up more than that, 1 or 2 topics. I think that the benefit is not that big. You will get confused, and it will be very hard to actually follow up all the topics. And then, of course, close. And this is perspective, which is completely wrong. So it's a misspelling there. It should be close the retrospective. So this is misspelling. Sorry about that. But it's very interesting how I talk with people, and people still ask me, how should I establish a retrospective? What kind of structure should I have in the retrospective? That's the structure. Follow that, and I'm pretty sure you will be pretty fine, and you will get a pretty good result of it. So I have a couple of questions. So how do you narrow it down when the team comes up with too many actions from a retro? Heather, that's very cool. That's a very cool and very simple. I play what I call a championship game, which is basically, it's like football, soccer, whatever. You put all the topics on top of each other, and you simulate that you are doing like a football tournament, and you vote on the topics. Okay, so imagine that you have two topics on the topic on the top. You vote the topic that should go to the next phase, and then you go to the next two topics, and so on, so on, so on. And at the end, you just have the winner. So think about a football tournament, soccer tournament, whatever, or any other thing on the elimination phase. Just vote on the topics, do dot voting, and start to eliminate the topics. Is this being recorded? We'll send a recording on the slide deck. Yes, it's being recorded. There will be a recorded webinar. I have a team doing 1 week sprints. Should they be doing retrospectives every single week then? Matt, to be very honest, 6 months ago, I was doing daily sprints and I was doing retrospectives every day. I still believe yes, because the thing is, when you do retrospectives of 1 week, you should spend half of the time when you do retrospectives of 2 weeks. So I still believe, yes, you should do it, but make sure that the time is much shorter, because otherwise people will get really, really bothered and really spend a lot of time. How do you connect the retrospective with the previous one? Can you be clear, Carlos? Because I don't understand your topic. Okay, and it seems that Marco is helping Heather. Good. So if you have any questions, like always, just shoot some questions here. When you implement Agile retrospectives, and this is the trick part, that very few people actually do it. I never join a company or an organization that actually does it. I create this stuff, but I don't want to be saying that I'm a genius. I just come up with this topic, and it gave me a lot of interesting ideas. When you implement an Agile retrospectives, make sure that you have a Kanban board with the retrospectives topics. This can be called Kaizen board. So what I do is in parallel with the sprint backlog, I have a Kanban board where I keep tracking of every single topic that was identified on the previous retrospectives. And I have a status. So basically Kanban is ongoing, is done, is not done, it should be done. When you have something like this, it's a good way to keep track of what's going on. What are the impediments, or what are the impediments, what are the problems that you identified, and you keep it very visually on the board, so that you can actually come back and identify what is still open. Okay, it's a good way to make sure that people are working on this. If these topics are part of the sprint backlog, even better. So what I'm coaching some organizations is the topics that you actually identify in your retrospectives go into the sprint planning backlog. So the sprint planning and to the sprint backlog, okay? And even better, you can demo those topics in the sprint review. So I coach now teams, and I specifically an organization where I'm coaching one of the teams to try out, to demo the improvement topics into the sprint review. It's very interesting. It's stuff that they do during the sprint, it's time that they spend during the sprint, is value for the organization. So why not spending some time and showing to the stakeholders what they did in order to improving some previous problems. And you can even collect topics from the upcoming retrospective. So, for example, if you think about a Kanban board, I'm working with the same team. They have plenty of problems during the sprint. So why waiting for the retrospective to collect those problems? This is just stupid. So if you have the problems during the sprint, just write those problems down, put them on the backlog, on the Kanban board, and on the retrospective, take those problems into the retrospective and discuss those problems and vote on those problems and see if this is interesting for you, if this is still valid, or if this is something that it disappeared. So Carlos, improvement objectives connected retro by retro. So I don't know if I understand your question, but what I meant in the past is when you do a retrospective, basically you define actions, topics, and you should define hypotheses. So I'm not going so deep in this webinar, but when I define improvements, I define an hypothesis. So basically, really, I hypothesize by doing that, I will solve this problem that will give us this benefit and will be validated by that. Okay. And when I start the retrospective on the week after, I open my retrospective analyzing if the hypothesis from the previous retrospective was validated or not. Okay. So this is what I said, that you should start the retrospective analyzing the previous ones. Okay. So do you mean sprint backlog or product backlog? I mean sprint backlog. Okay, so if you identify something, Christian, if you identify something on the retrospective, if you are doing what I suppose that you are doing, you are ending the sprint with the retrospective. The session that you have after the retrospective is the planning, the sprint planning. You should bring the topics, again, 2 max, to the retrospective and actually, to the planning, and include them in the sprint backlog. Should we do 360-degree feedback as part of the retrospective? No, I think this is completely useless. People that follow my work, I know that I work a lot with studying organizations and performance reviews and 360 degrees. I think this is completely useless. The reason is very simple. If you have the need to do a 360-degree, which I assume it's anonymous, then you have a huge problem in your team. If you don't have the openness to actually discuss the topic and you need people to reply in an anonymous way, you have a much, much bigger problem than any retrospective. Okay, so you should tackle that problem first, which, by the way, I will show you on the secret number 2, and then you should go into the next topic. Matthew, thank you so much for the comment. So let me promote this. This is beautiful. Yeah, Timo, just get rid of TFS. Just use post-its. My God. Just what about the remaining topics from the retrospective? You put them in the product backlog? Yes, I put them on the product backlog. I put them actually on the Kaizen board that I defined that. And to be very honest, put them there and start the next retrospective with dot voting. And if after 2 or 3 sprints, those topics are not voted, so a really good place to keep them is on the garbage. So just throw them on the garbage, because it means that the problems went away and people do not care anymore with those. So change the format of the retrospective. This will be a fast slide. If you subscribe to this webinar, most probably you got a PDF with 10 exercises from my side. Trick, change the format of the the retrospectives. Do not make always the same boring, what went well, what went wrong. Okay. So what I share with you, you should be able, not only, but you should get this problem solved. How to get from conversation to decision. So if you make, and if you follow the small 5 phases of retrospective, you are able to go from conversation to decision. How to make retrospectives more measurable. So if you follow what I told you, basically with the hypothesis, and make sure that you have an acceptance criteria, you will be making topics more measurable. Many teams drop retrospectives because they do not see the value of it. Just do a workshop, 2 to 3 hours, to make sure that you share with everyone the benefits of retrospectives. In order to keep team motivated and involved, the form of the retrospectives cannot be the same. Yes, that's exactly what I told you on the previous slide. Change the format. And if you think that I'm sounding that I'm reading, yes, I'm reading, because I collected huge amount of feedback. So people that follow my blog know that I collect a huge amount of feedback about problems that people have on the retrospective. So I use that feedback to actually tackle that in my webinar today. In order to keep team motivated and involved, the form of the retrospect cannot be the same. That's what I said, sorry. how can we come up with concrete actions to be tackled? So this is what I said. Choose one topic, go deep on that topic. Do root cause analysis. I don't accept improved communication. That's this kind of typical crappy action point that you have. That's not an action point. That's a symptom. Okay. So really make sure that go deep inside to the problem. Okay. Trying to get good action points that will take and improve the next sprint. So I already talked on this one as well. So make sure that you go deep, understand the root causes, and create an hypothesis so that you can follow up and see if you got any improvements. Okay. Following up on the issues. So if you have a Kanban board, like I told you, and if you move those topics into the sprint backlog, I believe you can go and tackle those problems. Secret number 2. So I want to share something here with you that I bet very few people outside of this webinar will know. My second secret, and one of the most powerful ones to run Agile retrospectives, is a high-performing teams workshop. Okay, so a lot of times, I believe people struggle in retrospectives because they skipped this problem. Okay, I highly advise when you join a team, and this does not have anything to do with retrospectives. It's really a pre-requirement that I see that all Scrum Masters should do. When you join a team, make sure that you create a workshop, one full day workshop, where you set the vision together with the product owner. You define the values for the team. You define the culture that you want to have for the team. You define the working principles that you want to have for the team. You define and educate people on poisoning behavior. You define the boundaries of what is accepted or not. And all of these, it's not just blah, blah, blah that I'm telling you, okay? So this came out from my my training, my coaching training that I took some years ago on organizational system coaching. This is the pre-requirements to create high-performing teams and productive teams, okay? So this is very interesting because if you do this, if you define the culture, if you define what is accepted, if you define what are poisoning behaviors, if you educate the people, you can create a really safe environment where people can talk about uncomfortable things because you have a working environment, you have a culture that you already defined where people are safe to share with each other, okay? So here you can tackle problems like if you have introverted people to say what they really think, try to run a workshop where you tackle this issue. Try to run a workshop where you really touch on the point that all shy people, all introverted people, opinions are welcome. And we highly incentivize people to share that knowledge, okay? Participation by all team members. So create the values, create principles that really tackle this. It create values that you say clearly with the team, you build with the team that this is only a team if participation by all team members is present. This will tackle defensive teams if you did all this, that what I told you previously. It becomes, sometimes retrospective becomes more a blame game than a positive experience. This is where you can educate people about the poisoning behaviors, and blame is one of the poisonous behaviors that you have in teams. If you educate them, if you create awareness of what they are, then you have all the tools to go into the retrospective and actually help them to get a really great environment, get trust between people, the team's lack of openness for constructive feedback. All these problems you can tackle if you create a really cool team building, agile team building, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, it's really mandatory. A lot of people talks about the 5 dysfunctions of a team. If this is more familiar to you, run a workshop to tackle the 5 dysfunctions of a team. Okay, something that is very important. You need to create trust. You need to create the ability to create openness for people to discuss. And a lot of people go to retrospectives and say, oh, my team is not open, they are shy people, they are introverted people, they are afraid. Yes, because you did not do this kind of workshop. You did not run something where you created the team vision and the team values and the team principles. Okay, if you have a workshop like this, and if you establish a values like continuous improvement, okay, continuous education, continuous learning, it's so easy for you to go to a retrospective. And if you have a team that tells you, oh, everything is cool, we don't need to do anything, just let's go back to our work. If you have a value that says continuous improvement, you can just go back to the team and mirror their values that they decide, not you. They decided these are the values that we decided to use for our team. So you can use all that workshop, all that team building to mirror back to them and to help them to actually become better. Okay. So I'm running a little bit out of time, so I need to push the gas, but still. So Marco has so each topic should be fixed in the next sprint. Optimally, yes. Some topics maybe take longer. Of course, I understand that, but yes, optimally you should do small experiments. Yeah, that's like you said on second, because topics can be pretty big ones. Try to break those topics in big ones, like you do with the user stories. Okay, try to break into small pieces and try to see what are the first step that we should do. Team canvas can be useful. Any other option or recommendations? Yes, Carlos, I don't want to go into detail. Wait until the end of the webinar. I have some options for you. Okay. So secret number 3. Now, the ultimate goal to transform your organization and utilize the power of Agile retrospectives. Okay. So I already asked you before, there is a lot of people that have identified problems, but the organization is blocking them. So that's very simple. You just need to create an organizational impediment board. So I did that with a couple of organizations, and this is very easy. So basically, you create an organization Kanban board. A lot of people believe that managers are responsible to manage people. Sorry, my language, this is bullshit. Okay, managers are responsible to manage and creating the systems for people to perform. So it's the management responsibility to remove organizational impediments. A lot of people, a lot of managers, that when they go Agile, they get very insecure because there is a Scrum Master, there is a product owner, there is a development team, there is executive management. What is the position of a manager? It's very simple. The position of a manager is becoming a lean manager. The position of a manager is to remove organizational impediments. How do you do that? With the organization impediment board. That's very simple. You need to come up with an organization, a Kanban board, where basically you feed problems that you identify on your retrospectives that are not able to solve inside of the retrospective. You feed to the organizational impediment board, and together with the management, you solve those impediments. Okay? So this is something that I use daily, with organizations that I work. Okay, this is something that seems so simple, but you know better than me. Okay, if you make an organizational, if you make a board on the wall, all the information becomes transparent. And when you have an organization impediment board, you make the problems transparent. You make the problems, you create awareness of those problems. So this is something that you really need to think about and you need to implement. So if you, with what I share with you, you should be able to tackle most of the retrospectives problems that are identified in the retrospectives, but are not able to solve in those problems. Okay, you can tackle organization issues that keep appearing over and over that are outside of the team responsibility. This is a very small thing, but it's huge. It's very, very powerful. I really, really highly recommend this stuff to you. So I had a lot of things to show you today, but let me ask you a question, and I want an answer from you. If you followed what I showed in the secret one and creating engaging Agile retrospectives, if you did then what I showed in the secret 2, if you would create an Agile retrospective or Agile team building workshop, full day workshop to create a fantastic culture of collaboration, and at the end, if you use the secret number 3 to ramp up an organization impediment board to tackle all the issues the team was not able to tackle by themselves, do you think that you could successfully run or improve drastically your Agile retrospectives? And I will take some 10 seconds, 20 seconds, because I really, really want an answer from you. My God, I'm getting guesses. This is so cool. Oh my God. You are the best, guys. Come on. Oh my God, you really rock. My God, I'm so happy. So I'm going to move to the next one. So how many of you are excited about what we just talked? Sorry guys, I really love this series. I could not resist Seinfeld. My God, it's so cool. I was 2 years ago, I was in New York and I need to stop by in the bar where they shoot the stuff. Thank you so much, guys. So are you excited, guys? Oh my God. So many yeses. Oh my God. I'm really getting crazy. This is so cool. This is so, oh my God. Yay. Oh my God. Come on, guys. Come take a beer. Come to Munich. I will get a beer for you. Good. So if you are excited, but now I have something for you. How many of you are a little bit overwhelmed with so much information? Because come on, it was 45 minutes, boom, dumping information. How many of you feel a little bit overwhelmed? Good, we need more of these. That's great. That's great, Travis, because I created a special package for those who are ready to move forward and want to implement this in the new opportunity. I really, really took the time to do something. And let me ask a question. If it's okay with you, I would like to spend the last 10 minutes to going over a very, very cool thing that I prepared for you to run and to help you to run Agile for retrospectives. But I can only go if you tell me that I'm authorized to go. So I really need your permission. Are you really eager to know what I prepared for you to help you to take to the next level of retrospectives? Awesome. You guys are so cool, man. So you are rocking the boat. Okay. So I prepared a 6 weeks Agile retrospective masterclass, and this is what I mean. I'm so excited to have being here. Sorry, I even getting a little bit nervous because this is so cool what I have to show you. I prepared something really cool for you. I prepared a 6-wheel Agile retrospective masterclass, and basically, what is this? This will be an online class that starts, by the way, next week. It will be a 6 weeks Agile retrospective masterclass, and we will have the following format. The first week it will be lesson, so it will be 3 hours of lessons where I will touch a lot of what I talked today. What is an Agile retrospective? Why do you do Agile retrospectives? Requirements, roles, responsibilities, how to create safer environment, and so many more other things. The second week is group coaching call. So it's 1 hour where people that are part of this masterclass come together and get discussed in a group call for 1 hour the problems that they are facing and how can they solve. The third week, again, a theoretical class where I will touch a lot how to help you to build all these Agile retrospectives or Agile team buildings and how you can create fantastic teams out of a retrospectives and out of a team building session. Group coaching, so to get people together to help each other. In fifth week, helping you to really master an organization impediment board and to really make sure that you can ramp it up in your organization. Sixth week, clean up everything and make sure that you guys are up and running to ramp up everything in the organization. Of course, this retrospective masterclass will have a private community. We'll have accountability group. So when you join this class, you will have a pair we will be assigned a pair to make sure that each other will kick your asses. And we'll have homework for every session. So the idea is basically you guys come to these sessions and you have homework so that you can apply directly on your company. So for whom is this masterclass? It's for people who's just starting out, so not so much experience. For people already successful run retrospectives but want to make them better, and for people that are not able to run retrospectives and want to solve this issue. Okay. So if you think about, and the people that know me, if you attended my workshops lively, you know that really I charge usually for 3 hours, 4 hours workshop, I charge 300 euros for 3 hours workshop. So if you just make the math, the value that you get out of this 1,200 euros, okay? But if you sign up today, just today, you get as part of this package, you will get 20 exercises recorded in video. So I'm preparing right now this stuff. So you will have access to this as soon as it's live. And when you have this package, you will be able to get rid of frustrations of thinking about what exercises should I use in the next retrospective. You will get different exercises for almost 1 year of Agile retrospectives. Way back in my career, I had to spend weeks of time figuring out what exercises are worth and not what, and not the ones that are not. So I prepared this fantastic package just for you that you will have access to it. So 20 videos, Agile retrospectives, and this will have a value of $97, 97 euros, plus the value of 1,200. And because I'm a really, really nice guy, I want you to get access to 20 interviews with people, okay? So right now, I'm currently talking with people like Esther Derby, Diana Larson. I'm trying to get Goiko, Linda Rising, all these big names. I'm pretty sure I will have those. I have a bunch of them already, but I will put a bunch of these nice gurus people up and running just for you. And these people, the interviews, I want to make sure that you understand they are tackling issues that I've been collecting for almost 3 to 4 years. So there will be very practical questions. Is their best advices to tackle the problems that you are living on my website on the daily basis. And just make the math, okay? If you take a look in 20 interviews and if you think about how much these people would charge for one-on-one coaching, it's very easy that you understand that the value is almost 3,000 euros. So 1,200 6 weeks masterclass, 20 video Agile retrospectives interviews. But of course, it's not over what I have to offer you. I have a special package that, by the way, if you go to my website, you have on my website this really cool Agile team building execution plan. So it's a step-by-step program for you to implement everything from the scratch to create fantastic Agile retrospectives teams. And it's a step-by-step course that will teach you how to run a workshop to enable Agile high-performing teams, compilation of techniques I have learned for many years, execution plan that transforms the way how your team members interact with each other, and the ideas that are worth thousands of euros. Remember, I got all this stuff from my team coaching. And 97 is the price of what I have. So I had two choices, okay? So offer this as really cheap as possible and try to sell as many as possible, or charge a higher price to not selling as many, but at least I could dedicate myself to help you and with the energy and the resources to put you into the success, okay? The line of success. Because people that know me for some years really understand that success for me, the people success, is very important. So stop and think a bit, 1 minute. If you would be able to run a great Agile retrospective that your team members and manager loves, how much would be worth? How much it would be worth going home with the great feeling of achievement? How much would it be worth to stop with the frustration of having your team members hating the retrospectives? Just really, really take 1 second and think. At least many years ago, when I was going home with this feeling that retrospective was frustrating, they were not really nice, people were pissed off with me, my wife was suffering, my friends were suffering, it was horrible. But think a bit about this, how worth it's to you. And then I have something for you. the total value of everything, it's 4,394. And the people that know me again, you know me, I hate bullshit marketing. So everything what I put here up in run, they are really values. So they are not really crappy shit. So I put you a fantastic offer that you get all that stuff for $297. Okay, and that stuff should be appearing right now on your right side of the screen. $297 for all that stuff. Okay, and you have two choices here: to do nothing, literally to do nothing, and continue your life in frustration with your retrospective, or transform your Agile retrospectives in your career. As you remember the story from my story from the beginning, I was fired and I started to really push Agile retrospectives into my career, and that completely changed my life. Okay, and I can even tell you something, and this is not bullshitting, it's really true. Today I got an email from a client. They asked me to go to their company, facilitate 3 retrospectives. It's a really big group, and facilitate 3 retrospectives. And each retrospective, it's a couple of thousands fees. Okay, so this is just a small example how you can transform your career if you become good in Agile retrospectives. And the best thing is, 30 days guarantee. So you can even get something. You can start to join our class. You can try it out for 30 days. And if you don't like, I give you everything back. All money back. No problem whatsoever. So it's time for you to make a decision. Which one do you want to be? You want to be the guy that wants to really rule the retrospectives, you want to make a difference in your organization? Or you want to be that guy that, well, just go home, doesn't care at all, doesn't really do anything, or is just continues to do that stuff? Okay, guys. So, and I have a last offer. I'm always fully surprised. If you guys get it today, you get a special price with me for the first 20 people, one-on-one coaching with me, value of $300. So the whole total value is 4,694 euros, but you only pay 297. And as you can see, guys, it's 10 times less, almost 15 times less. Okay, so I'm here to answer any questions that you want, and I'll be here for a couple of minutes to see what you guys, if you guys have any questions. So I would like to still waiting for some answers to come. I would like you to think about. A lot of people think and tell me that I don't need to invest in this kind of stuff because everything is available online for free. And to be honest, yes, it's true. A lot of stuff is online for free, but really think to the screen, really look to the screen. Do you really believe that everything that I put here together, up and running, you will find on the web for free? And really think about the amount of time that you would spend putting everything together, without the accountability group, without the private group coaching, without the homework, without my own support on the daily basis if you need. Do you really think that there's any free product out there that you can buy or you can get for free? So, any questions, guys? The offer is still available until Friday, Natalie. So this is the deadline. It will be Friday, end of this week. Alicia, yes, there will be a replay, so don't worry. And it was interesting. It was like 2 weeks ago, people told me that Agile retrospectives are not worth to invest in. And to be honest, again, thinking about the story that I had in the beginning, I really do not agree with it. I think Agile retrospectives are the cornerstone for any improvement, inspect and adapt improvement. So if you really don't tackle this, I think that basically you are really missing a huge opportunity. I think it's a pre-requirement for any great improvement in the organization. So people are asking me on the web, on the webinar, when it will start. It will start next Wednesday for 6 weeks. Everything will be recorded. So basically it will start next week. It's on the checkout page. So if you take a look into the offer, there will be information on the checkout page. It will start next week. And basically, if you cannot attend to any of the sessions, the session will be recorded, so you can easily continue with the week after. Do you think that, now it's an honest question, do you think that 300 is too expensive, guys? I would love to get some answers. You know, thanks, Chris, for your opinion, your input. Okay, thanks for your feedback, Rebecca. Thanks, Natalie, for your feedback. The offer will be up until Friday, so thank you so much. And I will really want to share. So it's not really pushing, but I really want to share. So habits are really hard to change. I could leave the webinar right now and go enjoy the rest of the evening, but I'm already successful with this. So I really wanted to make it work for you. This is not about me. This is for you. And if you leave now, you might think that you learned a lot, cool stuff. But to be honest, if you say that you don't have budget, or my guess is that by morning tomorrow you'll have already slip back into your normal routines and you just continue to do your own stuff. So you just to do whatever you always do. That's what most people do. Don't really allow this to yourself. Try to do something with your life. A lot of people believe that they don't have the budget or they don't have the money. You know, it's 300 euros. To be very honest, for all this amount of money and for all this amount of value, it's peanuts. And a lot of people spend 300 euros in Netflix and PlayStation games and dinners out and so on. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, I'm not saying it's not cool, but what does it actually do for your life, and how does it help you to progress? If you become good at this, you can get a huge reputation inside of your organization that you are actually able to help the retrospectives in your organization. You are helping management to get better. You are helping executive to get better. And to be honest, yeah, how worth is this? 300 euros, you know, it's like next month you get back the money. And to be honest, if you don't like it, 30 days guarantee. So to be honest, Christian, I'm not sure because I'm getting a lot of clients work. So this is needs to be done in the evening. And to be honest, I'm not sure if I will do this again this year. I cannot promise you that. Okay, Matthew, thank you so much for your comment. It's cool. I don't want to, so it's really, I highly appreciate, just make sure and sleep over this, you know. I am where I am today, and I don't want to sound cocky or arrogant, but I am where I am today, and I consider myself very successful with a really good life because there was only one thing, always one thing that I never allowed. I never allowed my managers to dictate my future. Okay, so I understand. I don't know what's going on in your life, but for all of you guys, you know, it's 297. Do not allow managers, and again, I do not know your financial situation, but do not allow managers to dictate your future. You know, you need to own your own future. You need to be able to dictate where you want to go. You need to be able to dictate what you want to do with your life. Do not allow a manager to tell you what you can or you cannot learn, how you can become better or not. Don't go on that road. This is a very dangerous road. So, more questions, guys. Any more questions? Thanks, Christian. Thanks, Omar. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks, Gail. Awesome. Really cool. So, guys, it's now 15 past 10. I will stay until 15. Oh, it's 12 past 10. I will stay until 15 past. Answer some questions. And I want to reinforce it's 30 days value. Okay. So if you want, buy it, try it out. If you don't like, I don't even ask why you did not like, or I will ask you why you don't like it so that I can get feedback. It's the only way for me to get better. But that I will not try to convince you to not get the money. If you say, no, this is not what I want, I will immediately give you the money. Okay. So you don't have anything to lose. You get it, you apply it on your team, you become really good. Or if not, you get the money back. Simple as that. So 2 more minutes. Any more questions, guys? And Veronica just put it my email there. So if you guys need to contact me, just send me an email, drop me an email. Just contact me. Any other questions? And I will send you an email to all of you in 1 hour, 2 hours, something like that. I will send an email with the link for the offer in case you guys wanna take a look into it. Okay, so it's now 10:15. No more questions. Thank you so much for joining. It was fantastic to have you here, guys. And I wish you a really, really great evening. Thank you so much, guys.